Hey there, come on in. I am so glad that you're here. And look, I need your help. I want you, well, help me understand this. Something comes up, someone in your world, all of us needs help, right? Or at least that's what they said. And before you even have the chance to finish processing what you just heard, because they're going to explain it to you and tell you this, you're already moving. You're like, you heard a part of it, you kind of understand where they're going with it, and so you're already assessing it, you're already calculating, and you are primed for action. All right, what do they need? What am I going to do? And somewhere in all of this mental motion, because they don't know this is what's going on, one very important question never gets asked. What's that question? Well, is this actually mine to take on, mine to do? Is this my responsibility? Look, if that hit a nerve, if you've seen yourself there, then this is for you. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today. Hi, I'm Michelle O'Neill, and you're on Break Time Live. So, this didn't start with you. I mean, don't go blaming yourself. Don't be thinking, I should be better, whatever this is. This started with one of the many roles that you assumed in your life. And we have all those roles. You always hear me saying, it's kind of like the cat in the hat. Each one of those hats is a different role that we play in our life, right? And maybe you were the oldest, or maybe you were even the middle child, or whatever the circumstances, right? Because there's different levels of responsibility there too. But you were the one who learned responsibility early. You're the one that could be counted on. You're the one that kind of got it. And you were the one who understood that things needed to get done, and that somebody that would get them done, in this case, it had to be you. I feel like singing the song, It Had to Be You, right? And somewhere in all that, tag, you're it. Not because anyone sat you down and assigned it to you, and yeah, that may have been the case. They may have said, hey, this is what's going on. You're the oldest, and I need you to step up. Maybe that was the case. But also because of what they could see in you. They saw how you handled when things needed to be done, when there was a crisis, or when your little brother or your little sister needed to be handled or taken care of, right? They saw how you stepped up to the plate, but also because you're wired for it somehow, or the people around you at least figured out that early in your lifetime, you were the one. You were the one that could handle it, right? And so that responsibility was handed to you. It was put on you. And now look at your life. You are a leader at work. You're the one that everyone looks up to. They know if they want something done, you're the one to talk to because it will be done. You know, you are the one that people call on at church because they know if there's a meeting that needs to be organized, or if they need someone there, or if they needed something set up or something done, you're the one to do it. And you're the one in the family who makes things happen. You make sure that the meals are on the table. You make sure that the laundry is done. You make sure that everyone makes their appointments, all of that. And so that role didn't just stay with you in your childhood. It just moves with you in every room that you've ever walked into. Because something in you, and I get this, says, hey, this isn't being done. Let me step in. And the thing about roles that we adopt travel with us through most of our lives. And at some point, it stops feeling like something you do and starts feeling like, well, who you are. Look, When something becomes who you are, you don't question it. That's how many times have you said, that's just how I am? That's just who I am. And you don't ask whether it's something that you should be doing because it's who you are. So you just do it. So, does this sound like anybody out there? I mean, raise your hand. Let me know. Does this sound like you? I don't have to see the hand, but I'm wondering because it's been me. And here's what it looks like on a normal day. Okay, you're wondering, for those of you wondering, is this me? This is what it looks like on a normal day. Someone brings you a problem, right? And before they finish their sentence, soon as you get an inkling of what's coming, you're already running that assessment. You know, the one I talked about earlier. What's their track record? Are they someone that that really needs your help? Have they handled something like this before? Are they genuinely stuck, or do they just want you to do the work? So you're sizing this person up on whether, should I help them? And how about this one? Will it be faster if I just handle it? And underneath all of that, do you love this person so much that the idea of them suffering or hurting or struggling, well, it feels like something that you're responsible for fixing? And I can say, especially as a mom, we always want to step in and take care of the hurt. And how many times have you said, oh, you want mommy to kiss the boo boo? Is that you? Because I sure did. And so you're doing all that mental work before you've even responded, right? And most of the time, you just jump in because somehow you've convinced yourself that you're the one to do it. And sometimes because they actually genuinely need you. Sometimes because, like I said, it's just quicker. Or sometimes because you love them and you just want to make it easier. I don't want to see them suffer. But notice what's not happening in any of these scenarios that I just gave you. You're not asking whether this is your responsibility to step in, if this is what is yours to do. And that question doesn't even make your list. The request came in, the role activated. Oh, yeah, this is me. And the whole internal assessment skipped right over that most important part. Is this even mine to take on? And this has gotten so familiar that you're not even waiting for that invasion anymore. You're looking for it. You're scanning for it. I know something's getting ready to happen, or something, somehow I'm going to be needed. And even there's certain people in your life that when that person steps in the room, you already know, right? And so on the days when nobody comes in, when there's nothing going on, when when everyone seems to be handling their own business, something kind of feels off. Almost as if you missed a cue. Wasn't I supposed to jump on stage? Wasn't I? Did I? And it's as if something is wrong, even though it isn't. And you think, hmm, so am I talking to you right now? Do you see yourself in any of that? So tell me, does the word entrapment ever come to your mind? Does it rise up something in you? And not because someone locked you in. I'm not saying you're in this bubble and you're locked in, but because you walked into something that felt like love, like being a caring person. It's just because I care and I'm responsible. Like, just that's just who I am. That's how I care for those that I love. And the walls just quietly close around you over time. And well, get this. You know that plant, you ever seen the movie Little Shop of Horrors, right? And you know that I think it's a meat eating plant, whatever you call the plant. And it always say, "Feed me, Seymour." Remember that? So once it had you in its jaws, you couldn't get out. You just couldn't see the escape and how to get out. And that's the entrapment I'm talking about. You're in this and you just can't see a way out. And that's what this pattern does. It doesn't look like a trap from the inside, it just looks like it's my life. I'm lifing. This is just how it is. And what makes it even harder is knowing that your discernment, it works. It's worked in other situations, right? I do have some discernment because it works when I'm not emotionally invested and when I don't have a strong pull towards that person or that situation, right? You can see that clearly. So your discernment, it works. You can evaluate, you can ask the right questions, right? But the closer that relationship, the harder it is to separate from the love and from that obligation that you feel towards that person. And so you keep jumping in. You keep being the one. You keep making sure that everyone's life is running the way it should. And while all that is happening, your life is still waiting on you. It's like, hello, yo, I'm here, right? I was talking to one of my ladies recently, this lady recently, and I'm gonna take her on. She has dreams. She has things that she want to do. I mean, real ones. Things that she has wanted to do for I don't know how long. But her days are so full of taking care of others, of handling what needs to be done that she couldn't even figure out how to get to herself. Is that you? And she's not looking for something dramatic, she's not looking for all of a sudden everything to open up and she gets what she wants. She's looking at things like self-care and exercise and eating right. And those things are great and they're needed, but they're not going to touch what's underneath. Because what's underneath is a pattern that has been running so long in your life that you can't see where it ends and you began. And that's what I saw in her as I listened to her talk. And the longer she keeps lifing, just moving through the motions, the closer she gets to looking up one day and realizing she never really got to live her own life. Not in the way she saw it and envisioned it. And I just want to know if you see yourself in any of this that I've talked about so far. Because there are two questions that I'm pretty sure that you already know. And I'm sure, I really am, that you've probably heard some version of them before. And here they are. Can they do this without me? I mean, really, if you think about it, can they take care of this situation Can they find a way without me? And then the second is this actually mine to do? I remember listening to um, a YouTube video of Priscilla Shire, and she was talking about her children growing up, her young men growing up, and how they would come to her, and she said, "Figure it out," because she knew that in order for them to grow and learn, they had to learn to figure some things out on their own. And she said, right behind that, and come tell me what you came up with. So she wasn't moving herself and divorcing herself from that situation. She was allowing them to figure it out. And the thing is, those two questions, you know them. And yet, by the time you remember to ask them, you are already in motion. And here's why: because urgency got there first. And knowledge doesn't move as fast as a pattern that has been running your life for decades. And on that other side of that, when you do hold back, and it's hard, when you make the choice not to jump in and you wait, I know from experience that waiting is excruciating. It is so painful. Not because you're impatient, but because you are now holding yourself responsible for any outcome that happens next. Your mind is running those worst case scenarios, and it takes up the land, and it takes you to the land of what ifs. What if it falls apart? What if I have to come in and clean up this bigger mess than what's there in the beginning? I should have done it in the beginning. What if I end up having to step in anyway? Except now there's damage that you have to undo on top of everything else. And if that happens, then you take a detour to the land of should haves. And when they show up, oh my gosh, they're loud. And if that happens, whew, I should have just handled it in the first place. How many times have you said that? I should have said something. I should have known better. So jumping in early doesn't just feel like love or obligation. It feels logical. It feels efficient, right? If I jump in, there would be less that has to be done than now. And it feels like you're being responsible. And that right there is why knowing the right question isn't enough. Because the pattern doesn't just present an emotional argument, they present practical arguments as well. And as long as those arguments sound reasonable, that urgency is always going to win. How many times have we convinced ourselves of something that we know really isn't right? And tell me if I'm wrong on that one. So this is what I want you to see. I just spent all that time helping you look at the pattern, right? And I know by now you might be sitting there thinking, okay, I get it. I get it. I'm in this pattern. But where do I go from here? So let me say this. When you choose not to jump in, when you hold back and let something work itself out, you're not abandoning anyone. Get that picture out of your head. You're not letting them down. You're not being selfish or uncaring or less of who you are. You're actually doing something more responsible than stepping in ever was. Because when you know the difference between what's yours and what's not, and you act on that, you're modeling something. You're showing those around you that it's possible to love someone and still let what belongs to them stay with them. That you don't have to run yourself into the ground for others in order to have value. That help has a difference between what is needed and what is just available. They can't learn that if you keep doing it for them. Every time you step back with intention and say, hey, wait a minute, you're teaching them something about responsibility, about their own capability, about what it looks like to use your emotions wisely instead of just reactively. You're not doing less for them. You're leading differently. And that's not abandonment. That's wisdom finally getting ahead of the urgency. And that's truth. Just because you can doesn't mean it's yours to do. And it doesn't mean that you have to. What if the most responsible thing that you ever did and the best modeling that you ever gave was to decide that this one right here was not yours. It's not your responsibility. And being the bigger person is to hand it over to them. Hey, I know that was a lot to think on. And so I am so glad that you were here with me today, that I was able to sit down with you and walk through this. And if you'd like to share with me, I'd love to hear how this sat with you today. But until next time, I'm Mischelle O'Neill, and you've been here sitting with me on Break Time Live. Take care.